Hello, Dan. It's so good to see you. How are you doing today?
Absolutely loving being back this term. It's a good one. The weather's going to be great. Always playing along, and I'm just so happy to be here with you today.
That's so wonderful. But Dan, we're actually here today to talk about something really exciting and a big milestone for our grade 8s as well. But before we jump into that, I just want to say hello to all of our grade 8 guardians and remind you about who we are. So my name is Mrs. Fenter, and I am the executive head of school at UCT Online High School. And I am joined by our magical Danny. So Dan, maybe you can just remind our guardians of your role in the school.
I'd love to. Thank you. I'm Danny Randall, and I'm Head of Wellbeing and Engagement. So my team is all about connection, the engagement space, socio-emotional support and counselling services, as well as the academic support space.
So grade 8 guardians, we are here today to chat to you about a really important milestone in your learners' academic journey at UCT Online High School, in that you are receiving their first high school reports. And I can imagine, being a guardian myself, that comes with a lot of emotions. There's probably some excitement about it, like how are they doing, how are they coping with high school, is the online space really working for them, and probably a little bit of anxiety as well. We know that the transition from primary school to high school is a big one. It is significant. And for a lot of our grade 8s, it's also a transition to an online learning space. So there are a lot of emotions that come with this academic milestone that is happening. And so really what Danny and I wanted to chat to all of you today about is what to expect when you look at those reports, why not to panic when you see those reports, and also some tips, some ideas, some thoughts that maybe you can take in to supporting your child as we go into term 2, because term 2 is an exam term. And so I think the first thing that I want to really start with is that when you get that report, when you look at that report, if it is not what you are expecting, please do not panic. As I've mentioned, it is a jump. There is a difference being in primary school versus being in high school, being in a brick and mortar space versus being in an online space. And generally what we see with our grade 8s, particularly in the first term, because they're adjusting, because there are new academic expectations, is that there is a dip in marks, there is a dip in grades, and that's to be expected. And what I want to say to you as guardians is that's okay. Please do not panic if you see that your learner, who was doing so fabulously at the end of grade 7, you look at their results at the end of term 1 for grade 8, and they're not quite what you were expecting. That is okay. That is totally normal, and that is expected. But that doesn't actually make it any easier when you do look at those results, particularly if you weren't expecting them. And so Dan, I'm curious to get your perspective. Like, what are some of the things that I should be doing as a guardian if I see that report and I'm like, oh my goodness, what has happened here? What are some of the things I should be thinking about? What are some of the conversations I should be having with my learner?
Those are such great questions, Tess. And I want to bring in a philosophy that we speak about a lot at our school, and that is looking at things through a lens of curiosity. Why? If we can go with the why behind what we're seeing, it empowers us and our learners as well. So what is this telling us rather than an emotional response? Let's look at the curiosity. So is my learner engaging with the Wellbeing and Engagement website, for example? Are they using the study skills and tips that we've put up there for them? I will take you through them a bit just now. Is my learner maybe a bit more left-brained or right-brained? This is really critical when we're looking at the subjects and the results that these subjects are giving us. How is my learner studying? How are they doing emotionally? With this big transition and change, I'm going to say something that might shock a few people as well. But I would like to put out there, why don't we look at how we're connecting with our children before we look at what their results are? It's one that I really would like to take a moment and reflect on. We will be hosting a webinar about this term. But Mandy Harrell writes a lot about connection before correction. Before we can put any measures, whether it's academic or emotional, in place, we need to have a connected relationship with our kids. And for me, that is where I would start. Do we know where they are at? And once we know that, we can start investigating the why behind our results.
I really love that. Like that is so important about being connected to your child, understanding where they are at. And if I think about it for our grade 8s in just like a very simple like framing, connecting with your child about thinking about like, well, how has online school been for you this term? And what has been really difficult? What has been really great about it? And having those conversations before digging into the marks that are appearing on the report. But Dan, I want to take it a step further. If I feel like I'm connecting with my child, I understand what their experience has been like, and I'm still concerned. I'm looking at the report and something is just not adding up here.
Yes.
I really want to support my child in going into term 2. I really want to understand how I can set them up for success in an exam term. Like what are some of the tips? What are some of the kind of guidance that you would give to guardians, like practical things that a guardian can do?
Number 1 would be, what is the expectation? And I want to put this here before we get to grade 9 and we look at subject choices. This is a really important space to start all of our framing on. Are we opening the right doors for our children? And are we having realistic expectations about their ability? I mentioned left and right brain just now. While our learners have to do all subjects, this is something really important to bear in mind. So the strategies that we use to help learning, and I know there are many fields of thought, and some of us do have preferences of how we learn, if we're more visual or auditory. But truly the best way to learn is a multimodality approach to learning, engaging all our senses. And the big takeout here is that the best way to learn is to teach. If our children can become confident in their content and they teach themselves the content, you don't have to learn, because once you know something, you don't forget it. So I would like to just highlight a few really important points that are on our website about those study tips that you asked me to mention. So there's a critical window. It's 18 hours after our learners see content for the first time. So if they are attending a session, whether it's an AMA session or they are watching their classes, 18 hours from when new content is heard or seen is a critical window to reinforce. When we reinforce that learning, we remember it. So when it comes to exam time, I want to hear that our learners are revising, not studying for the first time. It's such a powerful shift in how we approach our academics, that exams and assessments are for revision. The studying and the work and the understanding has to happen all term long. Then it's also really important that we don't sit for hours with our work. We love to use the Pomodoro technique, which speaks to 25 minutes of active learning, note-taking, summarizing, engaging with your work, making it your own. Those techniques are all on our website. And then having a 5-minute break, another 25-minute session and a 5-minute break. Then after that hour is complete, you have a longer break. And that is how studying should be broken up. It's also really important that we exercise both sides of our brain. So do some left brain subjects for an hour, your 2 Pomodoro slots, and then some right brain subjects for the next hour, and alternate so that you're not exhausting one part of the brain. Those are some of the key tips that I would definitely recommend that guardians have these conversations and engage with their learners on.
That's excellent advice, and I really think helpful for our guardians to understand like where to into term 2, particularly because it is an exam term. But I want to just come back for our guardians to our term 1 reports as well. So guardians, some of the things that are going to be helpful for you in understanding and making sense of that report is that when you see this report, you're going to see a percentage that you've achieved in each subject. And so that's some of the things that we've been talking about, understanding that maybe the percentage this term isn't as high as what you saw at the end of grade 7. And again, I want to stress that's okay. But also maybe you have questions like, how did the school actually get to this percentage? What went into making up my mark so that I know what I need to do going forward or what I need to change going forward? So remember, during every term, you have formal assessments that you hand in, and then you write a cycle test or an exam. Now, those formal assessments all have something that we call a specific weighting, like how much does it count towards your final mark? And something that I think is really important to remember is that the assessments that you do during the term are often weighted lower than your cycle test or your exam. Your cycle test or your exam has a higher weighting. And cycle tests and exams come with their own set of stresses as well. And particularly for our grade 8s in their first term, again, I can't say this enough, first term of high school, first term of online learning. They're also getting used to a new invigilation system with the desktop app as well. So all of these factors might come into play when we look at the marks. And so I just want to reflect back to all of our guardians as well. This is where it's so important that that connection happens, understanding your learner's experience, but also being equipped and guided by the school as to what went into making up my learner's mark. So alongside the report, you can also expect to receive a weightings document so that you can see very clearly, oh, okay, this formal assessment counted this much, this cycle test counted this much. And hopefully that will also equip our guardians to understand what that report looks like when they see it. Dan, we've given our guardians so much information today. I'm really hoping it's useful. But is there any last tip, piece of advice that you want to give our grade 8 guardians as they're looking at those reports for the first time?
I'd love to give two. So this term, as it is an exam term, we do have an academic support series for examinations. So please be on the lookout for that for your learners to join them if they would like some engaging spaces to learn some exam study tips and techniques. But then I would like to end on this, because this speaks to my heart, and Tessa, I know to yours as well, that self-regulation has been shown to be a greater predictor of success than mathematical marks, subject marks, what learners attain at school. Emotional regulation is the greater predictor of success. So let's come down to those basics. Let's look at seeing a bigger picture and really know that we are in this together. We are walking this journey with you, and that we want your children happy, because that is going to lead to a bright future. And then the marks is something we can focus on.
That is such a perfect way to wrap up this video for our grade 8 guardians. So grade 8 guardians, I hope that when you see those reports tomorrow, when you see those reports, that this video helps you make sense of that, as well as like where to from here, some practical ideas. And I really want to encourage you to connect with us, to work with us as a school. We all have the same goal, the same vision. We want each and every one of our learners to achieve. And this report, this summary of the term is just one step. It's the beginning step of what is a long journey at the school. And so I know that each and every one of our learners has got this, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Thanks to our grade 8 guardians for watching, and we'll connect soon. Bye.